And everybody, welcome into the
I just love. He like starts to say something, and then a little noise, just like. Okay, everybody, quiet. Let's try it again.
My guess is we're gonna edit this part out, but I might leave it in just for fun.
I don't know. Do we have any
see.
dildos on the unicorn or on a horse or what?
Oh fuck, that's all we
We
need.
can edit some in.
All right, we
shit.
will. All right, let's try again. Anytime you're
All
ready. Joe, shut up.
Welcome everybody into the Pigskin Pricks. I'm your host, Evan, with John and Joe as always. And the world is in chaos, but this week, the biggest event of the year of 2020, the NFL Draft, and we're going to talk about it.
Dum, dum, dum.
Dun, dun, dun. But first, what is on the drink menu tonight, boys? Either of you can start.
All right, well, I opened my mouth, so man, I'm just gonna go with it.
All right. let's hear it.
Actually,
That's what he said.
that's what I love about this guy. He's very witty, very witty.
I've never heard that one before.
I know, right? I know, very special.
Yeah,
Good
I
one.
try.
Actually, today is an incredibly special day for myself because today is my beautiful bride and I's 12-year wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
And so, thank you. And so, because of that, in honor of that, I am going to bring out a beer that we actually found together when we went on an Alaskan cruise. We actually ended up in a local pub in Juneau, Alaska, and they had Alaskan Amber on tap. And we sat and drank with the locals for 3 hours, got hammered because the alcohol content is higher in this. You know, when you're used to drinking Bud Light, it's a big change. But it was a freaking blast. And we actually both fell in love with this beer, and now we just drink it all the time. I mean, we just love it. It's an amber ale. It's just wonderful. Great taste, smooth. If I'm going to rate this between a 1 to 10, it gets an 8.5 in my book. I mean, it really is just that good. And so yeah, in honor of that, I think we're going with the Alaskan Amber. So here, boys.
All right. 8.5.
Salute.
Salute.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and just in case you're wondering, Evan, my pants are off. Knock them sons of bitches right off.
All right. Wow.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Excellent. That's good to know.
You
A
bet.
bad day for me. I was totally.
Don't pan the camera down.
I was totally going somewhere else.
No
with it. I'm thinking,
worries.
it's our anniversary. His pants are off. Favorite beer. I mean,
It's been a good day.
no wonder he's
Excellent.
smiling today.
Oh, hell yeah.
All right, John, what beer is
Am
what
I
do you got?
hiding my
Yeah,
product?
what do you
So
hiding?
it's another Sierra Nevada. You can't see. That is too awesome.
Okay, your palm tree's in the way.
That is too great. Oh,
Yeah.
look at, oh, you could see it for a second. I gotta
Uh-huh.
turn that shit off. All right, everybody.
Yeah,
Bear
it's
with me
horrible.
while we fix the screen so
Yeah.
we can see my beer.
There we go.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Damn
his real
it.
location.
Sierra Nevada. I'll pull it. Yeah, right. The other one was making me a lot happier, so I stuck with
I'm
it.
sure.
Double IPA. So as it sounds, it's a bit on the hoppy, bitter, but actually for a double IPA, it's not too bad. I've had more bitter IPAs that say they're just regular IPA. So another one I really like, the other Sierra Nevada I did a couple weeks ago. The 40th anniversary is a nicer beer in my opinion, but this is still a very nice beer. I better try it again. One negative of drinking all day, Joe, I actually kind of laid off for a while, is your taste is a little different.
Yeah.
Than if it was like, oh, I just had this for the first time right after I worked outside all day.
Yeah, it's incredibly true. However, I've had so much experience with the Alaskan Amber. I know what it
So
tastes
you
like.
just made that
Oh,
shit
yeah.
up. You just made that shit up.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So
You know it's solid.
whew,
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I'm going to have to go with a 7. So it's not quite the same
Wow.
as the other Sierra Nevada.
okay.
Seven's
Well,
still good.
my rating,
good,
I
yeah.
think it's a good rating. My rating
Yeah.
thing, again, Joe says Bush is a 7. So my scale's a little bit more
Oh, here we go.
nuanced
That's
in
true.
particular
That is true.
than his one that he gives. What did you say that one? Alaskan was 8.5, but a Bush is a 7. Shit, that's
Yeah.
a terrible beer you're drinking. Then apparently,
Right.
it's like a 6 on my scale. So
Man, when are you guys going to get off the bush?
I like being on the Bush. I don't know about you.
Well, apparently you need to drink some more.
That's not kind of the Bush I want to be on, but okay, sure.
All right, let's talk some
No
football.
comments on the Bush. Yeah, let's,
Yeah,
let's
No,
go to,
we're
let's
not
go to
done
some
yet. We're not
football.
done yet, Evan. What are you
Oh.
drinking today?
I got a couple
Forgive
things.
me. Oh my
got a
God!
couple-
Here we go.
I got a whole dinner menu over
Drum roll,
here.
please.
Wow.
Let's start. We got some water.
Oh, of course. That gets a
look at no. Again, we want to see the gratuitous product placement, please. Come on. Oh no, up higher.
up higher.
Look
There
at
it is.
that, the fifth
There it
dimension.
is.
Woo!
The fifth
Podcast
dimension.
with a torn
Woo!
up sticker. Yeah,
Evan's
yeah.
other podcast where he is way more successful than this one.
Right.
Oh, please.
And we'll continue to be.
Don't know about that.
We're good
I
with
got some tea. What kind of tea?
it. Here we go.
It doesn't
doesn't
say
even-
what kind of tea.
He doesn't even know what kind of tea he's drinking. He just
I know
grabbed.
I know it's
What
got some lavender in it.
What a crazy
Right.
man! He closed his eyes and just
Right.
literally just grabbed some
I
tea
did.
out of the thing
Right.
and didn't even know what he was drinking. He
Right.
is.
Puka.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Puka.
It's puka. Yeah. I
Is
was
it
gonna say-
nighttime? Is that what it said? Nighttime tea?
Nighttime.
Oh, I
And
thought
I
maybe.
also got a baked potato over here that I have yet to finish eating.
Oh
So
shit!
Oh,
That's gonna-
fantastic.
That's gonna start coming out somebody's nose in the right
Yeah.
opportunity. We'll be like, wait till he takes a bite. Now drop
That's right.
it. You know.
so
Evan, I actually, if I had to guess, I'd guess it was THC.
no.
No.
THC potato. It's a THC potato.
What? No, it's tea.
Oh,
No, not quite. Not today.
Fair
T-
Not on
enough.
this occasion.
HC.
Fair
I
enough.
am attempting to talk football, and
yes,
I would
yes,
It
just
sounds like a perfect match.
I would just
doesn't it?
fade.
Dude,
I just fade into oblivion on that.
We attempt to talk football every week.
Right.
You know, now whether we do or not, that's a whole different story.
Very true. Very true. Well, let's attempt to talk some football. I give a 10 out of 10 for all of my
All of your-
courses over here, whatever is going on.
Fandango. Yeah.
Another scale that's a little skewed, but hey,
I
you know,
just
do what
love
you gotta do.
everything. I just love everything.
Yeah, everything's
I give
a 10 in
I
Evan's
give
world.
everything a 10.
Hey,
Yeah, why not?
Note to self:
to be
when you're
alive.
near Evan, don't bend over. He loves everything.
Dude, seriously, I don't do enough yoga. I can't even bend over. So it's all right. We got no worries.
All right. Well, let's talk the draft. So
Yes.
we have 2020 NFL draft commencing on Thursday. Now, I want to start with the most important position in football, and that is quarterbacks.
Oh, damn. I thought you were going to say kicker.
I didn't think they drafted coaches. What the fuck?
Love it.
That's a good.
I
All right.
love it.
I almost said punters.
Yeah, right.
but- You know, so I'm of the opinion we're going to have, this is a pretty, I'd say, consensus around, you know, whether you're looking at mocks, you're looking at sort of all the scouts. There are 4 first round, I would say, quality quarterbacks. You know, Burrow, Tua, Herbert, and Love. I don't think outside of those 4, anybody else is going in the first round.
Right.
You know, I think we're going to see a flurry at the top within the top 5 or 6 picks. 3 of those quarterbacks will already be gone, and I think another team will trade up to get Love within the top 15. So I think these quarterbacks are off the board within the first half of the first round. So maybe if a team is desperate, they trade in late, but I think we see other quarterbacks going in the second round.
Hey, Ev, can I pose a question to you?
I would, yeah.
Why, and I'm just really curious about this, why isn't Fromm in the first round?
Now,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, I mean,
agree.
he played for Georgia. He played in the SEC. You know, I did read some things that he's not good about, you know, getting out of the pocket and making throws on the run. But I mean, he's got a strong arm. You know, he's got decent height. He's 6'2". I mean, you know, you'd
Pretty
like to be
accurate, too.
6'3". He is.
Doesn't
And
turn the ball over.
right. For the competition that he played in college, you think that he would be higher and maybe Jordan Love would fall off a bit. Now, he has all the physical intangibles, but he
Right.
played at Utah State, right, where the
Right.
competition, as we know, you know, Fromm played against guys that are in his face. These guys are going to be playing on Sunday, and I bet most of them, right, in the SEC. Jordan Love, I would say that's probably not the case. Not that he's not an NFL-type quarterback, but why is he so much higher than Jake Fromm? I guess that's my question.
I think it's because he has those physical intangibles. He has that sort of raw skill set the coaches dream of with Jordan Love. And I think there's some with Fromm, there's some of those, you know, he's getting a lot of comparisons as sort of that reliable game manager, if you will. Like, he's not going to blow you away with his physical attributes. Like, his arm is okay. His accuracy is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I think with Love, you're getting those sort of Patrick Mahomes comparisons, right? I've heard that comparison thrown around a few times by a few different analysts. And with Fromm, I think you sort of know what you're getting. And I like Fromm. I think Fromm is actually going to be a good quarterback for whoever picks him up in the second or third round. I just don't see anybody trading up to get him because, you know, he doesn't take your breath away per se. But I do see a team trading up, falling in love with those attributes of Jordan Love and trading up to, you know, maybe to number 11, number 12, somewhere in that range to get him if he's still available.
What do you think, John?
Well, honestly, I didn't pay attention much to Jake Fromm while he was playing in college. So I had to dig into a little bit. In fact, just about right now. So I heard a little bit, just paying attention to the NFL and draft, but they just kind of chatted about him. They didn't really get deep into him. So I did a quick search just to say, you know, what did they not like about him? So they're talking about the fact that he didn't play his senior year. He's getting out early. There's questions about his arm strength. And to me, it's like, okay, that makes sense. You know, that if there's anything that somebody would care about in a quarterback would be, well, a couple things. One, arm strength. Two, experience. And guys getting out early, while there's certain positions, I think that's important because they want to get in the league. They want to, you know, limit the chance of getting hurt before they get in the NFL and get paid. The quarterback, the longer you play, the better you are because of experience. And so I guess it makes sense to me. Again, I don't want to go way too deep on this guy because I don't have a lot of experience, but there's so many other better choices that I just – that's kind of why I didn't know about him, you know, until you bring him up. It's like, who the fuck is Jake Fromm? Okay, yeah, he's a decent guy. He sounds like a decent guy. But you get a lot of those type of positions in the NFL or quarterbacks in the NFL that come out and they're just, or they're studs. It could be a Tom Brady, right, that we're just talking like, who the hell is this guy? Or it could be a Ryan Leaf, you know. And this guy's not a Ryan Leaf because he's not going to get picked up in the first round, but which guy is, right? Because there's going to be one of those.
Sure.
We just know it's going to happen. Is that Jordan Love? Is that Herbert?
The thing with Jake Fromm, though, was last year, at the end of the last season, if he had been eligible to come out, people were talking about him as a top 10, top 15 pick because he was a stud his first two, I believe his first 2 years at Georgia.
His sophomore year was his best year.
Right. And he just fell off a little bit. He fell off a little bit, but
a little bit.
So and now he's a day 2 pick, right? And he'll be at the very least, I think, a reliable backup, a serviceable Alex Smith type game manager. But I mean, so I don't think he's going to end up being a superstar, which is why I don't think he's going to be a first round pick. Now, looking at sort of the other guys, I'm actually very intrigued because I think I think the Miami Dolphins are the team to watch in terms of what are they going to do on draft day.
Oh, for sure.
They have 3 first round picks, right?
Yeah.
So they kind of control, in my opinion. I think they are the team.
They have 14 picks overall, Evan.
Right. They are I think they definitely trade up with the Lions at number 3 to grab Tua. Tua to Miami just seems like a foregone conclusion at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think they trade up to get Hebert. So, and then maybe does Los Angeles, not San Diego,
I appreciate that. I was wondering if you were going to catch that.
Do they have to trade up to then get Hebert? Because I don't know if somebody else is going to sneak in there. So I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. I think it's a foregone conclusion. Burrow's number 1, regardless of whether you like the pick or not. He's going number 1. Chase Young at number 2 to Washington. Seems pretty safe. And then it gets interesting. So I think Miami trades up to get Tua at number 3.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to hear your guys' thoughts.
John, do you want to take it from here and then I'll go last?
Yeah, sure. So as I'm hearing it and thinking about it, everybody I'm listening to, and you know, I got 3 different mock drafts sitting in front of me just for fun. And I looked at them before the show just to get a feel of what everybody was saying. And this, in my mind, as I look at it, says, why would you trade up? Because nobody's saying anybody else is going after Tua. So why would you need to trade up for him? Why wouldn't you stay where you're at and pick him up? And even with that, Nobody's
What if
saying
the
that
Chargers love Tua and want to trade up to get him?
they got to trade up
instead of
too, so they would have to.
Yeah.
This is interesting because we had a battle about this a couple shows ago, and
Yeah.
what would the Chargers do? And I
Right.
remember you guys saying, they might pick up a guy, but who
Well,
knows?
there's
And
a
if
lot.
anybody, it wasn't necessarily Tua. I would say that
There's a lot
could
going
be.
on right now with the Chargers, saying
yeah.
that Anthony Lynn may not even pick up a quarterback. They're looking at
Yeah.
Isaiah Simmons as a possibility,
I like Simmons.
which is scary as shit. Because with that defense, you add another guy to that, man, they'll have one of the best back ends, middles.
But then who's playing
fronts.
quarterback? Tyrod Taylor? Come on.
But then maybe you draft a guy in 2021, or you go after Cam or Jameis. See, I guess my point is there's been a lot of talk about that. But Evan, it's weird that you mention this and you say Joe Burrow's a foregone conclusion. I think you're probably right.
I do too.
I don't think it's necessarily the right move, but I think
No.
right.
Listen, I saw a wild mock draft today, right? Crazy. All right. And I'll just tell you a few of the moves. And it involves Miami. And this is some scary shit, guys, because if this happens, Miami is automatically in the running for the division title in the East. I'm gonna throw this out there. So they trade up, right? They trade up to number 1 and get Burrow.
Okay.
Right? Cincinnati gets 2 of their first round picks. Okay, later in, right?
They need depth.
They need depth. That's exactly right. So what do? They pick up 2 offensive linemen. They pick up a center in Ruiz, and they pick up Thomas from Georgia, right? The offensive tackle.
Yeah.
Then they also pick up Jordan Love. Okay, so now they've got 3 picks. Then Miami so now they have Burrow. Their second pick, their other pick, they pick up an offensive tackle. Then they trade back into the first round from the Falcons and pick up another offensive tackle.
Okay.
So now
I don't know if that puts them into contention, though.
Are you kidding me, dude? With everything they've done in free agency on defense, yeah, I'm sorry. They're right now, before the draft, they're a sleeper team. I'm just telling you, watch out for the Miami Dolphins because they've done so much to improve that team through free agency. Then you add these guys. Now, are they going to go anywhere in the playoffs if they do get there? No, because these guys are young. But watch out, right? And you've got Buffalo,
right
now, and they're probably primed to win it if we're being honest.
Right. You know? The thing is, I did actually think about how Miami does have all those first round picks. They have the maneuverability if they wanted to move to number 1. But
yes.
I feel like Cincinnati, it seems like too much of that feel-good story. Take the hometown kid, Burrow. Would the fans get behind that? I don't.
But here's the problem, right? I like it because what happens in Cincinnati every year?
They suck.
You draft a quarterback, and they don't draft any offensive linemen to protect the guy. John, you've brought this up numerous times. You draft a guy, you stick him out there, he loses confidence because he gets the shit kicked out of him, right? And this is what happens in Cincinnati. By doing it the other way, you get a couple pieces on that offensive line, you start to build that, and then you take a Jordan Love. Hey, man, that's the way to start building. And I'm wondering if this Taylor guy, who's an offensive mind, is thinking that way too. Right? Is thinking,
right.
I know it's hard
but I think Burrow is a better quarterback than Love.
Oh, there's no question.
So
no question about
it comes into the idea of, do you pick the better quarterback and then hope to build an offensive line? Well, because I think that is still an option. There's a lot of good offensive linemen in this draft. They could still get a quality offensive lineman with the first pick in the second round, depending on who's still available.
Yeah, but if you want to protect Joe Burrow, you need a first-round guy.
There's Jordan Love in this case.
Yeah, there's third-round guys out there that are serviceable, but they won't protect Joe Burrow. You need a Thomas, or you need a Becton, or you need one of those guys, or the guy out of Iowa.
There is also the trade market, though, too. And I think a team to watch is actually New England, because they franchised Joe Tooney
I
at
know.
$12.5 million. So he's on the block. He's
That's
probably
gone.
he's probably going to get traded.
Yes.
And the Patriots right now don't have a second round pick.
Yes.
So if you're offering him up for a second
Yes.
or third rounder,
You're
that
probably going
could
to
be
get him.
a team like Cincinnati could definitely hop all on that. And he is, I believe he was a Pro Bowler. He's a solid offensive lineman. So
Yeah, he's very good. Yes.
So
well, there's Trent Williams is out there too.
Right. So
I mean, if you want a guy immediately to protect your quarterback, you bring this guy in.
I just think the move seems to be to get Burrow. I think that should be Cincinnati's move. I don't know how.
And that's what everybody thinks. John's sitting there going, man, they'd be stupid not to pick Burrow. I mean, we all know that that's probably the way it's going to go. But this was just kind of a wild thing that could possibly happen. You got a bunch of guys trading up. I really don't know if San Diego or LA, excuse me, we keep calling them San Diego. I don't know if they're going to take a quarterback. I honestly, there's just been so much talk about that.
In that scenario, where would you see? Let's assume that Burrow's off the board first and Tua goes to Miami. I think Tua, if it's between Tua and Hebert for Miami, I think they take Tua. I don't.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Yep. So, LA, the Chargers, let's call them that. They don't take Hebert. How far does Hebert fall? Is this an Aaron Rodgers situation where he falls all the way into the 20s to some?
No.
But how far does he fall? Someone trade up for him?
I think he falls to number 8 to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Okay.
Is where I think he falls. What do you think, John? Pick. Or whatever pick they are. They're around 8.
They're in like 12, 13.
They are, yeah.
Maybe they traded up. I saw something. 12.
They do have 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, so I think they come up and get him around 8. Because unless they know he's going to fall that far, which is possible, they were even talking about the Patriots trading up into the top 5 to grab their guy, but we both know that's not going to happen. Right?
Chance.
Yeah, Belichick just doesn't do that.
Yeah.
You'd have to give away the farm to get up there, and he's not willing to do that.
Yeah,
he builds to the draft.
I don't think Burrow's going anywhere. As I look at it and go, Miami's 5th, and if I'm 5th and I'm going to get the choice of any other quarterback because nobody else is picking one, why do I trade up? I mean, I think it's interesting.
I think there's a lot of smoke screens.
Right. I think as you talked about that, I'm sitting here trying to go, what's the credibility? And you said this is a wild mock. You weren't saying this is like realistic, but I'm trying to think through it and go, how realistic could it be? And again, other experts have talked about it and they said, they could try it. They got a lot of draft picks that they could use as leverage to trade up.
Oh, sure.
If you're Cincinnati, do you really do it? And in my mind, I'm like, what do they need? They need a quarterback. They really do. Yeah. And yes, you want an offensive lineman, but I would say not every first-year offensive lineman. I'd say more often than not, that first year is not where they're the stud anyway. So, as you said, you could go after some offensive linemen too and say, hey, I'm protecting my quarterback. But not so much this year. What's the difference of this year versus next year getting some linemen around him, right? Yes, for a franchise, you want to build a team over some years. And so you're going to want that. But is it all going to have to happen this year? And what is it going to do for you? Are they going to turn around and become the best team?
All right, well then, John, here's a question.
Since he's the team. Nobody's going to change their team win rate dramatically and become a playoff team the first year with Joe Burrow. Even Joe Burrow.
I get that, but here's my question to you. Do you draft Joe Burrow then? And do you let him set a year behind Andy Dalton? You keep Andy Dalton. You let him set a year behind him and kind of watch what he does and then put him in that second year? Because what we found is a lot of times these number 1 picks that are quarterbacks, fans want them to play.
Yes, they do.
If he's number 1, he'll play.
He'll play, right. And so, but is that a mistake? Because
I think it is.
Because Mahomes, we drafted him number 10, and he sat 1 year behind Alex Smith, and then they traded Alex Smith away.
Hey, no. We had one game with him at the very end of the season.
We did have one game. Yeah, you're right. We had one game with him. And that's just because they sat Alex out. They're like,
right. Yeah, it didn't matter. We didn't need to play.
We were in the playoffs, but so and look what that did. I think that made a huge difference. And if you listen to Patrick talk, he's like, Alex did so much for me. Yeah. I learned so much from him. And so could that be a situation, or does
I
Joe
hope
Burrow
it
just
is.
go right in and start?
No, I think they're going to start him, but I would hope that here's what they would do. If they were smart, they'd probably sit him. But at the very least, they would get through, training camp and the preseason games and actually evaluate and go, which guy's a better guy on the team right now. By the end of the year, which guy's going to do more for the team? And it's not just Andy Dalton in the future, but is Andy doing better for the team by teaching Burrow, throughout the year? Because it might be that case. Or is it better to have Burrow in the game, even though we're going to continue to lose and bang him up a little bit, but he's going to learn the game as he does that.
Right.
I love,
and again,
reps.
I talked about it before. I hate seeing him go in the beginning of the year, but it seems like since he's going to do it because they have to. But I sit back and I go, maybe they play it out and get him in about halfway through the season and pull a, Daniel Jones, which I think was a bigger mistake. A Daniel Jones pulling out Eli Manning. I don't think you should have done that, especially.
However, they did it halfway through the year. So did Daniel watch him and say, okay, and then they just decided, hey, let's give this kid a shot.
Right, and Daniel got valuable experience.
Daniel Jones is making a leap.
Did he turn the team around? No, not at all. Right, he didn't do anything more for the team that year.
I don't necessarily disagree with that, Evan. Actually,
he's making a leap. I know he's not the subject, but he's making a leap next year.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But with Burrow, I think as a rookie quarterback, you can still learn from a veteran guy, even if the veteran guy is not playing. By all accounts, Andy Dalton is a good teammate and would be more than willing to help the rookie along. I think you get that valuable experience by playing in game reps. I mean, obviously, Mahomes didn't play his first season and then came in and tore up the league, right? I mean, so you can still succeed without it, but I think it can be valuable. I mean, look at Peyton Manning. He threw, 28 interceptions or just some astronomical number his rookie year. But then the next year they went 13-3. So, I think it would be valuable for Burrow to get game action.
Evan, it takes a special guy to do that. So that's going to be on the rare side, that whole Peyton Manning thing. He comes from a football family.
Picks.
His knowledge, I know, that's what I'm saying. Most guys don't come back from that. That's a rare deal.
And the claim is Joe Burrow's special too. I hear you. And the claim is Joe Burrow's special. And we'll
He's the number one pick.
I'm not sold, but he definitely is good. There's no doubt about that.
Yes.
Now let's see how good he really is. And getting to play for the Cincinnati Bengals, that'll test somebody.
Well, and that's the whole thing, And Evan, you brought up Tua, and Miami really liking Tua. There's this whole Wonderlic thing. He scored a 13 on it.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so, but you know what? It's funny. I read an article from Richard Sherman, who went to Stanford. Super, super smart guy, right?
Yeah.
Says the Wonderlic test is bullshit. And there's a lot of players that are like, it absolutely does nothing for measuring talent. It doesn't determine what you do on the field. And I tend to trust Richard Sherman. I'm not a big fan of his as a player, but he's a smart guy. And I think that I value his opinion because I think it truly does matter. The guy can just play the game, right?
Yeah.
The worry is, it's math, and there's three things. It's a combination of things. Can Tua, will he be able to read defenses? I think that's the big thing, right? Will he be able to take the position and run with it? Well, look, he did at Alabama. We don't know how dumbed down that defense or the offense was for him. We don't know what Saban did for him. But
think of it this way, though. The Alabama, prior to Tua, they were always a defensive juggernaut.
Yes.
And as soon as Tua became the starter, they added a little bit with Jalen Hurts, but even with Hurts, they weren't that offensively gifted.
Right.
Once Tua took over, Alabama became an elite offense. So I think that speaks to Tua's skill and leadership ability and ability to transcend an offense.
And here's how I would argue that. And John, please join into this because you're going to understand exactly where I'm going with this. So I'm a Kansas State fan. For all of you out there that didn't know, there was a guy that played for us by the name of Michael Bishop, and he took college football to a new level. This guy was the most gifted athlete I've ever seen in college on a football field. He took Bill Snyder's offense, and he killed it. We should have won the national championship that year. He made a stupid mistake, fumbled in the Big 12 championship, and cost us a trip to the national championship. That being said, he was drafted by the New England Patriots.
Lovely.
He went, but he was not smart enough. He had such athletic ability that he could transcend the college game, but he got to the pros, and it was way beyond his scope. So it does happen where a guy can take the college game and look like a god. Then you get to the NFL. John, do you remember Michael Bishop?
I remember him well, and I also remember he's a big douchebag and got himself kicked out of the league. But
okay. Well, then there's that. Too. Yes.
But and he was a hometown kid. That's the other thing that we all know.
Yes.
I mean, he's from outside of Kansas City, Grandview, Missouri, so right in the general area. Again, big K-State fan as well. No surprise. And Joe, for the viewers, you got it behind your head. So
right, that's right there.
They didn't figure it out. I don't know what they tell them.
Yeah, right. It's a picture of Bill Snyder Stadium.
But no, I totally agree with you. But that's not the issue with these two guys. So it's an important point. But everybody's talking about it, and I'm just going to have to say I believe it because, Tua played for Alabama, which is in general the best team in college football, except for last year and some other years, and that doesn't make me happy, but it's the fact, right?
And he was hurt last year.
Right. Everybody's going,
yes.
It's not which one's a better player, because Tua's a better player. That's not the issue. It's can Tua stay healthy, right? And we can't check him right now, and we got to draft him. And once we get him, can he, even if he's better now and he can play, his first year, is he going to last? That's the bigger issue. And I think that one's more legitimate, to be quite honest, because anytime you're drafting a first-round pick, you need a guy that's going to last for you. And it's not even you made a great point, but in a different way. It's not even their physical ability, right? It's when you make that investment, how long are they going to last for your team and what kind of contribution, because that's a huge investment. If Tua, and it's sad, it's very – you can just listening to everybody else and look at the mocks. It's very back and forth. Some guys say go for the better player and take the risk because the payoff is higher if it pays off, right? Some guys are, we'd rather go a little safer because, you're not going to lose your job or people are going to question you for picking somebody who could totally crash on you, which again could be Tua because of his injuries. But it's not about skill. So.
Well, you're right. I think it's about. You're right, John. I think it's about durability.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we had obviously our last podcast was about running backs, and we talked about Todd Gurley, right?
Yeah.
And and he's got the knee injury. Well, they weren't able to give him a physical, right? Atlanta wasn't. So they signed him to a $6 million deal. I mean,
which won't become effective, right? It won't even become effective till he gets that.
That's correct. So
review.
So it's one of they took a risk, right? They took a risk. People that draft Tua, you're taking a risk.
Yeah.
Is the guy worth the risk? Well, maybe.
Absolutely.
I like the guy. I think
I said pick he is for sure in my mind.
That's correct.
Is he your first pick? If there's another,
I'd not over Burrow.
Or
not over Burrow for sure.
No. But if he's your first pick in the draft, right? Whatever team it may be, and you need a quarterback. And there's other good guys, whether it's Love, which nobody's saying Love's going to get the program.
I think
if it's Herbert or Tua, you pick a guy.
Tua is the number two.
Tua is the number 2.
I know, but nobody's picking him number 2. Really,
I know.
Right now, he's. I'm not saying he's not going to get picked, but all the mocks right now are putting Herbert first before him.
I disagree with that.
No. Miami's taking Tua.
If Miami is going,
number 5.
and the thing is, I think
unless Jacksonville trades up to 3.
They're saying that Tua could go to Miami. They're saying Herbert could go to Miami. I see it both ways. I
think
that way.
Miami trades up to avoid another team trading up, getting Tua.
Yeah. Did you? No. So Evan, did you hear the whole Jacksonville thing trading up to number 3?
I've heard that thrown around. Yeah.
That could be interesting too, because they need somebody because Gardner Minshew. I'm not sure that he's.
I like Gardner Minshew.
Well,
for a rookie. Come on.
Well, no, listen, he's from Washington State, man. We watched him play college when we lived up and said, hey, I like the kid. I'm not sure that he's the answer in Jacksonville, right?
He's the answer.
You think he's the long-term answer?
I think so.
Wow. That's a bold statement. We'll see. I mean, obviously, we're going to learn that, but listen, they wouldn't be talking up getting to the 3rd position to take Tua if they thought he was that guy.
I don't think Gardner Minshew is Tua. I'll say that.
Right.
I appreciate that.
But I do think Miami has more trade assets in terms of picks than Jacksonville. So,
Oh, no doubt.
So Detroit sitting there at number 3, if they're looking at their offers and you can get the number 5 pick along with another first round pick, you're going to take that deal because you can still get a stud. Dude, Detroit is sitting pretty. They're going to get.
Dude, Detroit, it doesn't matter what they do. They're going to trade out of their spot. They're still going to get Jeff Okudah, the second best player in the draft. This cornerback out of Ohio State is outstanding. They're still going to get their guy and probably get another first-round pick. Right. Yeah, you're right. Detroit is set up, man. They're waiting for phone calls. That's all they're doing. They're like, no, because nobody else is going to take Okudah. Right. Isaiah Simmons is going to hop. He'll be taken before then, and then Okudah will fall right in Detroit's lap.
I think it's a possibility to even New York at number 4. I think they could be fielding calls as well for
possible. They really like Simmons though.
Well, that's the thing. I think Simmons is the choice but if there's a team that's desperate to trade up for Hebert, whether it be the Chargers or somebody leapfrogging the Chargers, maybe Jacksonville is in love with Justin Hebert, and that's who they want. There could be a team in the mix. So, but I think New York will at least field calls at 4. So, I don't know. But I think otherwise Hebert slides to 6 and or 7, whatever it is that the Chargers are thinking.
What I've heard so far is you're thinking somebody's going to trade up to grab a quarterback, and it's either Jacksonville or who?
Miami. I think
Miami doesn't have to trade up.
Yeah, I think they do.
They don't have.
They are the team to trade up because they have 3 first-round picks.
I'm going to
somebody will leapfrog them to get Tua.
If I were Miami, I'd let that happen. You know why? Because of the value of I still got at least Herbert as is it Hebert or Herbert because it has an R in it.
I think it's Herbert, but we might be a
Haybear. I'm going to go with Haybear.
Let's go with Haybear. Good old Bobby Haybear.
I think if I were Miami and if somebody wants to trade up to get Tua, you just made that decision a lot easier for me that I'm not taking the risk, and I kept my value, and I still get one of the top 3 quarterbacks. That's what I'm going to say they're going to do. They're going to stick with the number 5 pick, and I'm not sure who else is trading up ahead of them.
I'm not as high on Haybear.
Right, that's the problem I have is I don't see another team trading up to get a quarterback because who else needs them that bad? Nobody. The other guys are going to take a quarterback. If it's San Diego, L.A., they're going to take a quarterback because that's the best guy left on the board at their pick, not because they need one. They do need one, but they don't think they need one this year for whatever stupid reason.
I have to jump in here and say how much I love the fact that you two are disagreeing. I mean, it warms my heart. Like I just can't even. I just love it. Go ahead. You got it.
I mean, I think there's going to be some movement and trades, but I actually don't think it's probably in the first.
Now, but what about Jordan Love?
He's going to fall so far down. It doesn't matter. I don't. Nobody's saying he comes on the first round.
No, someone is picking him up in the top 15. I think a team like maybe not. It could be New Orleans. Trading up to possibly.
Now, I actually did see a mock that had Jordan Love going to New Orleans, and let me tell you something. If that happens, guys, he gets to sit behind Drew Brees for a couple years. That is dangerous. That's kind of what I'm talking about for like Fromm and some of those later round guys. They're going to go to a good team, most likely. So I think you're going to have more success. They're going to be behind a guy, maybe sit behind an Aaron Rodgers for a couple of years, and I think that makes them automatically more successful than some of these early round guys that get taken. I just think because I think they're put in a better situation, right? So that's kind of where I'm going with that. But Jordan Love, I do like that to New Orleans. I did see that.
I think he's I think Jordan Love is a top 15 pick, and he sits for a year. Whether it be behind Drew Brees or Derek Carr or some other, I don't think a team like Jacksonville will necessarily take Jordan Love.
There's a mock with Jordan Love going to the Patriots at 23.
Patriots are trading out of that spot.
You think so?
They don't have as I was saying, they don't have a second-round pick.
I understand.
Bill Belichick loves his draft capital. He's all about value and picking up as many draft picks as he can. So
you think he's going to try to get 2 second rounds for that first?
Yeah, mostly. Or maybe a first and a third, a later first and a third, and then sort of. He's going to make maneuvers. He's not sitting in 23. So
You know,
I think he's moving back.
So John and I are Chiefs fans. I actually believe the Chiefs might try to bump out a 32. I think they might try to trade, because we only have 5 draft picks, right? And so I think they're going to try to trade out of the first round, pick up a few more, another one in the second round, maybe, possibly a third, depending on what they can get out of it. But I think Andy Reid wants more picks, right? And there's a lot of picks out there to be had. You know, I know we talk about the first and second round guys, but I want you to think about some of the people that have come out in later rounds. Antonio Brown, Richard Sherman, Josh Norman, Joe Montana,
Tom Brady.
Yeah. I mean, look.
No.
Yes.
No.
Well, he was number 10.
I know.
But you know what I'm saying? So from the 3rd to the 7th round, there's
some value.
There's some gold in there. You just got to find it. And a lot of times it's luck. A lot of times you're in a right situation. You know, Tom Brady, there was a lot of luck there. All right. He sat behind a guy who was really good. Drew gets hurt. He gets put in. They have a stellar defense, right? I know everybody's like, oh, my God, first year we won the Super Bowl. The defense won the Super Bowl. It wasn't Tom Brady. It was Ty Law picking that off and running it back. But whatever. Tom Brady was a quarterback, so he's going to get credit. But he didn't win that Super Bowl, right? I mean, he was stressed there. He
did
played
well.
He did well enough.
He drove him down the field.
He did. You know, I won't take anything away from Brady because, I mean, he's earned what he's gotten. But I wouldn't go over the top as far as that goes. But back to the draft. I mean, I think Jordan Love, John, I tend to agree with you on this, and I hate agreeing with you. All right, but I do think Jordan Love is going to fall. I think he's going to fall farther than what you think he's going to. Do I think he still goes in the first round? Yes. Unless, again, I think the Raiders, I don't know what they're doing.
They're not picking him up.
Why not?
Why? Because what do you need more? A third quarterback with 2 guys that are decent when you need wide receivers really, really bad?
They can take a guy like Jerry Jeudy would be available at their slot more than likely where they're sitting.
Oh, for sure.
13. So, but they have a second first round.
I was thinking him or Ruggs out of Alabama.
Right. No, they got a couple. Right. Jeudy, Ruggs. They got several good. I mean,
they have multiple first round picks.
Player in that first pick.
Yes.
And so I'm like, again, in my mind, why do you need at that point? You don't need a quarterback as bad as you need a good wide receiver.
Well, here's the question.
Other good wide receivers because it's deep class, but not the echelon guys. Those are going to go pretty quickly. So
is Derek Carr the answer long term?
They don't know.
Raiders?
Nobody knows yet.
John,
I don't think I don't think he's bad enough to.
I think Gruden's a quarterback guy. You bring a quarterback in, you let him sit. This is the thing that you've been saying, right?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You're the guy that's saying,
why do they pick up Mariota if they're going to draft a quarterback?
That's what I'm saying. One of those guys goes.
Yeah,
if they draft a quarterback, I don't know. Maybe Carr goes. Maybe he sits behind Mariota for a little bit. I don't know how that's going to work out, but there's a lot of talk about the Raiders picking up a quarterback. So something's going on. And, listen, we don't know everything that's going inside the facility and what they're talking about. But there's a whole lot of talk for it being a horrible move.
I think it's possible. No, I think
it's
possible. Anything's
possible. But you're right, John. I do agree with you. The Raiders need a receiver. I mean, let's call it what it is. That their biggest need, their most glaring need, is a receiver.
They take a receiver at 12.
I think it would be crazy if they didn't. And like you said, John, listen, there's T. Higgins. There's going to be Ruggs. I think Jerry Jeudy could be there. I don't know. It depends. CeeDee Lamb, I think, is going to be the first guy to go. Jerry Jeudy, he's probably going to be that second guy.
Right.
He doesn't have the speed, but he's got size. And he's got his route running skills are phenomenal.
Right.
So I think CeeDee Lamb is just
either one of the good guys are good picks. In my mind, it's whatever one of those two are available.
Class.
Right. It really is. Yeah.
Right. You grab one of those two when they show up, and that's so. I want to go back to Jordan Love for a minute because I think he's going to slip. I think he's going to slip.
How far?
Except I think it's going to slip out of the first round, except for the chance.
Oh no, I don't think.
No,
that's
I know. Let me finish.
Way.
Yeah.
The team is going to want that extra year of control of him too, as a first round. If someone falls in love with him,
except for if the right team that has a need, and to me, the need is an older quarterback that is going to retire soon.
Tampa Bay.
That's actually, but they're
Green Bay at 30. Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly. Well, even the Saints isn't a bad one, other than
right.
I just heard about the guy. They have somebody that they're talking up that's actually fairly.
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill. And I was going to say Hill. So I'm thinking, why would they pick him? But you know what? It's not a bad pick because now you got Taysom Hill and you got Jordan Love. So
yes.
You potentially good. Which one's going to work out for you? You still don't know. But Breeze is going to go away this year or next year. After this year or
I think this is Drew Brees' last season.
He's not going to last much longer, no matter what. And the same thing could be said for Brady.
Maybe.
Now, unfortunately, Tampa's picking way earlier than that, so they're not grabbing him. They're not picking up Jordan Love that early. They don't need to. They need, like you said, Joe, offensive line right now because they're
taking a tackle to protect their money guy right now.
Should.
But
they're getting the best tackle.
What prevents them from trading back in?
No, but they could. And to me,
they're nothing.
That's a good pick. So the only team, if I were a team, if I were team needing a quarterback. There's only two choices, and most of them are coming up in the beginning of the draft, and they're going to get a quarterback. We already know who they are. So the only ones that make sense to me are that if you're going to grab them first round is a team that your guy's not lasting much longer, and now you're getting that value pick out of him. And like you said, you get that extra year. If it's not one of those teams, he's not going, and it could change because, like you said, every mock has where the Saints might pick him up, or there's another one that say they aren't picking him up, or I saw it, Raiders could pick him up, or they're not. And I'm just throwing my 2 cents out there. He's going to slip to the second round, and then he's going to fall into whatever team sees the value. And they're not somebody who just got to. I'm glad you guys disagree. I'm totally cool with that.
I think the talent is like his skill set is too. There are Patrick Mahomes comparisons for a reason. That's why I don't think he falls out of the first round. Somebody is going to fall in love.
No, he's going in the first round, but I think it's late first round.
I do too. A team that has a quarterback that's on his way out.
Yes,
that's the only team that's going to
that would be my guess, unless there is a slight possibility that there's a Raiders team or there's a team that says, you know what, Jordan Love is still on the board. Let's grab him at 14 or 15. There's always that chance.
So. Teams that have multiple first-round picks include the Raiders,
correct,
the Jaguars.
Yes.
What prevents the Jaguars from picking him up in the 20s?
The Jags are going to take Herbert.
He's not going to be there. He's not going to be there.
They're going to trade up for him, dude. That's what I'm saying. And if they trade up far enough, depending on what Miami does, and John says Miami should stay there, I think because the Jags want Tua. That's their guy. If Miami's they trade up into
I don't think the Jags want to.
Not
if
bad enough. No. Not if Jacksonville trades up, they won't.
But the thing is, going back to that argument, Miami has all of the firepower in terms of trade assets.
But if Jacksonville, if they knew they were coming, they're gonna have to trade up. It doesn't matter if they've got 14.
Why would Detroit take a Jacksonville offer over a Miami offer?
Depends what Jacksonville's willing to offer, man.
Well, if they're the only one making the offer, let's say Miami doesn't make an offer, then Jacksonville's in.
They're in.
Again, don't see it happening, but it's fun to speculate.
It's fair enough. Fair enough.
Of course.
No, I think Jacksonville could get him without trading up. There's a possibility.
Tua?
Yep.
Are you serious?
There's no way.
No chance. They're picking 9. Tua's not falling that far.
He's not falling that far. All right.
I'm not saying he's gonna, but
sorry, not sorry.
There is a potential.
No, there's no potential, Jerry.
Okay.
No
chance.
Yeah. What if
there's a better chance of that unicorn landing in your backyard?
What if San Diego picks up Isaiah Simmons? What if San Diego picks up Isaiah Simmons? What happens?
Well, then the Chiefs are in trouble because that sumbitch is good.
What happens? What happens in the draft order? What happens in the draft order if San Diego doesn't pick up a quarterback? Where does he go?
I think Heber goes to Jacksonville in that situation. I think they do.
They're either getting Tua
and that's right. If they trade up and get Tua,
if they don't trade up and San Diego doesn't pick up a quarterback, there's a quarterback sitting there that right now nobody's picking up.
Well, the Dolphins
teams
would grab
could.
Herbert.
The Dolphins would grab. Yeah,
The
They
Dolphins
might
would grab
Tua.
Herbert.
They could grab Tua.
Well, okay, if they grab Tua, then Jacksonville comes up and grabs Herbert.
But they don't have to. Is what I'm saying.
Oh,
Well,
but
they might
talking,
let it. They might let him fall.
Yeah, I
to
think
him.
they like Gordon and Minshew, right? Gardner.
Gardner.
Goddamn, Gordon.
the guy.
No, he's a
I
Gardner.
know it. Gardner.
He's a Gardner.
They like Gardner enough that I don't see him trading up for these guys. Not
Dude,
yet.
there's a whole lot of trade talk for them loving Gardner. But you're right. Maybe that's a smoke screen. Maybe that's, hey, we're trying to scare you to do, that's a Bill Belichick move. John and I talked about that last week. That's something that asshole would do just to freak people out, and then he doesn't move anywhere.
Yeah, except
and he got all this movement going everywhere, and he's sitting back with a smile on his face.
Why do you think he's won the division? How many years?
That's classic Belichick. That's the kind of shit that he does, and and it works. I mean, it really works.
Absolutely.
So, let's get off the quarterbacks.
I was going to say, any last quarterback thoughts you guys have?
No.
I think 3
years ago. I do have one other thing.
Round.
One quarterback that I will say, this is my sleeper pick in the draft.
Already?
Sleeper pick.
Okay.
Well, I'm just going to throw it out there because he's a quarterback. Cole McDonald out of Hawaii.
Okay.
My sleeper pick.
Where's he going?
I think he's going to make a huge splash.
Okay.
You know what? He's probably not going to go till the 4th or 5th round. But this guy has sick arm. He played in an aerial attack at Hawaii, and the only reason I know of this kid is because I put a ton of money on Hawaii last season. A ton. Because the kid was just fun to watch. And they were all late games, so they're on like at 10:30 at night. The wife goes to bed. I'm sitting there drinking beer, watching, and it's the last football game that's on.
Right.
So if I still got a ticket, I'm watching Hawaii. So I watched him play a ton of games. I think this kid's going to make a difference. And what I really like about it is that he's going to go to a team, we just said that. He's going to go to a team where he can sit and he can learn. And I think, watch out. A few years, you give this guy a little time. Crazy shit right here.
Okay, so we were getting ready to let him go.
About him,
Me either. But I like the pick, Joe.
Okay.
So we're getting ready to let him go, but we didn't talk about Jalen Hurts.
That's correct.
All right, yeah, Jalen Hurts.
We probably should I think he's good enough to play in the NFL, so I think we should be talking about him. I mean, he's not going to go early, but
he's a second or third round pick.
Where do we see him going? Who do you think has a good enough need? Like Jacksonville, in my mind, could pick up a guy like this. There's a value pick, and if Gardner doesn't work out, now you didn't spend the farm on a decent potential there.
I have a couple teams in mind. Yeah, definitely Jacksonville, possibly Tampa Bay.
I could see them
picking him up. He could sit behind Brady. I could see New England.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're definitely picking up a day 2 quarterback, whether it be Hurts or Eason or Fromm. So I think there's a couple quarterback needy teams who can take him with the idea of like, maybe this is our guy, but he's not going. You're right. You don't.
Right. You didn't bet the farm. Right.
Yeah. And there is the golden quarterback next year of Trevor Lawrence. That if we're bad enough next year, we can take him. So, I think Jalen Hurts is a really intriguing option. He's getting a lot of comparisons actually to Taysom Hill of the Saints. Who the Saints love. You can use him like as a gadget almost. You can throw him out at receiver if you want, but ultimately this guy can play quarterback too. So
I think he's going to get picked up by Abe's Trash Company. I listen, this kid, he's not smart enough to play quarterback in the NFL, guys. I'm sorry.
Is he smarter than Tua?
He's one hell. I believe that he is, yes. But Tua has it. Jalen doesn't. I'm sorry. My thing is this, and you guys can disagree with me all you want. I think he's one hell of an athlete. I think he could be an athlete in the NFL, but not as a quarterback. I think he's a receiver. I think he's a slash type of guy. I think if you have a trick play where you need to throw the ball down the field, he could do that. But he's not a guy that's going to go in there and read defenses. I just don't believe that he's that guy. Do I think that he's going to get drafted by a team to sit behind a Brady or something like that? Yes. I think it's a mistake. I think you're wasting that pick unless you have some stuff that you're going to do with him besides quarterback. I know.
They said the same thing about Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
and he just won MVP. Yeah. So I'm gonna. until Jalen Hurts can prove otherwise,
Yeah.
those are the exact same words they said about Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, but here's my thing about Lamar Jackson. Jalen Hurts doesn't have his physical ability. He does, and here's another thing about that I'll say about Lamar. Lamar doesn't know how to read defenses, guys. Lamar runs, and when shit breaks down, he runs. But he is a fucking NFL running back. This guy is so fucking dynamic that you can't take him down. We've watched him play. This guy is insane, but he doesn't know how to read.
He did get shut down by Tennessee.
Absolutely. It's like he's not bright. This guy's not smart, and I think he's really gonna show as he gets older as a quarterback, because he will lose the ability to move like he can now at some point. So, John, you're shaking your head. No, you disagree with me, and that's fine.
I was really down on the guy, and then I watched him play and watched him throw a number, more than I thought he could. Great passes, and I'm like, this guy's a hell of a player.
Right, but that's not reading defense. If a guy's open, you're going to pass the ball. I'm not saying
you know how to look that direction. It was too many times.
Not if it's your first receiver. You're not reading the defense.
Right, you don't get an entire game of
where the guy's
freebies.
going.
And he's thrown too many in the same game that convinced me that he's not just getting a bunch of freebies.
Yeah. Well,
Lamar Jackson.
Tennessee shut him down, but Tennessee also shut him down because they ran the ball more.
You know who Tennessee also shut down?
Keep him off the field.
Tom Brady.
Right.
That's
right. Again, same reason. If you can't keep us off the field, you will not get to show us how good your offense is.
Right.
You know, and Tennessee's defense is pretty good. So not only do you have to get our offense off the field, but then you got to, score, because we're going to work really hard to stop you.
That's correct.
So, final thoughts on Jalen Hurts? Anything? You guys got a specific?
I like
team?
him. I like what you said. Again, same concept. If one of those teams doesn't grab Love, and they need it's either a Gardner or you nailed it, Tampa. The Saints could grab him. There's a number of teams that, hey, if you have a potential need and you didn't want to bet the farm first round, this guy is worth grabbing. See what happens. I would grab him. Absolutely.
I think he's another Slash.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair to say, Joe. I think, like you said, he's a good athlete, but I think he's worth throwing the second, probably a third.
Yeah,
on the guy.
And trust me,
maybe even a fourth round pick on the guy and seeing what he can do.
I think they will. Somebody's going to take him, and they're going to set him behind somebody or whatnot. I think that's going to happen. But I think they're going to, when they get him into camp, they're going to look at this guy and go, Jesus Christ, why aren't we throwing to this guy?
Here's my prediction about Jalen Hurts. I'm going to throw it out there. One of the guys that are going to go in the first round, he's going to be a better quarterback than one of those guys.
Which guy?
I don't know. Because it's too hard to predict.
Okay.
To be quite honest.
But you only have three. You only have three guys going in the first round, right?
That's right. That's right.
I personally am not super high on Herbert. So
I'm not, and I'm not super high on Love, to be honest. So I'm
just
throwing it out there that I think
he's
going to end up, not necessarily next year, not even but as the NFL progresses, I think he's going to end up being a better guy than one of the guys in the first round this year.
I think Fromm is the third best quarterback, and
I think he could be really good. Just hearing about
out of this quarterback draft.
What's our rankings? Should we each give our top three, top four?
Sure. Yeah, let's throw
Is
it
anybody going to not say Burrow first round? Just to be
I'm going to say
I'm going to go Tua.
Number one is Tua.
It's Tua. That's me too.
If Tua is healthy, he is a better quarterback than Joe Burrow.
He's dynamic. And I've even said that. I said that on one of our other podcasts that Alabama wins the national championship if he doesn't get hurt. And you guys gave me a ton of shit for that. And listen, I love Burrow. He won me a lot of money last year. The kid can play, but Tua's just dynamic, and I think he has that. I think Burrow's number two. I am high on Herbert. I actually like him. He's got it. The kid runs a 4.5. He's 6'6". He can see over any offensive lineman. He's 220 pounds, so he's not a feather. When they hit him, John, you and I talked about Roethlisberger. You know what makes him so good? Jesus Christ, you can hit that son of a bitch. He doesn't never go down. I mean, you can hit him with a tank, and that son of a bitch is still letting the ball go. And I think Herbert has that. So I like him as my number three. However, Fromm is right there. So I would say Tua, Burrow, and then it's a tie for number three with Herbert and Fromm, and it could go either way. But I really like Fromm. I really – so those – are we doing top three or top four?
That's
Till
fine.
you stop talking. Yeah.
So yeah, until we stop
Fair enough.
talking.
Probably
I was gonna
5
say,
is enough. You don't
Yeah.
need
No,
to
you guys are good.
I'd
No,
say
I'll stick with that because that really it could be 4. I gave you 4 quarterbacks.
I'm going to do it in terms of who are going to have the most successful careers,
Yeah,
not just of what
yeah,
I think
that's what
about
I was
them
thinking.
Okay,
now.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I'm going to go with number 1, Tua. I think
Yep.
as long as he's healthy,
Yep.
he's dynamic. And let's say he goes to Miami.
Yep.
Miami
Watch
owns
out.
that division.
Yep.
Number 2, I think Burrow. As long as Cincinnati doesn't not feel the team around him,
Yeah.
doesn't turn him into Carson Palmer.
That's the scary part right there.
Right. Exactly. Number 3, I really think is going to be Jordan Love. I really love
He loves the love.
He loves love.
I'm all about the love. So
Yeah,
loving the
apparently.
positivity. But no, I really love his physical ability. It feels like there's too much potential for him to not sit behind a guy and learn like Patrick Mahomes did, because he had the same comparisons as Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
So I really like Love. I think he's going to be dynamite. And after that, I think there's a lot of toss-up between a lot of these second and third round guys, and you can throw Herbert in that mix. I can't put one over the other. I think it's all about where they land and what they sort of pick up. So ask me after the draft.
Yeah. So let's see.
Yeah, no shit, right?
My thought process was same yours, that it's not about the best player, because you're not going to know if they're on a shitty team. You're going to forget they're the best player.
Right.
So I think Joe Burrow is in trouble because he's with Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put him as number 3, which is just because I got to be different than you. I got to take one of the other 2 guys that we said are going to for sure be in the draft, Herbert or Tua, and toss them out, because I said that Hurts is going to be better than one of those guys.
That's correct.
So I'm going to stick with Tua as number 1, because I think that's a good pick by you guys. And I think where he's going to end up, I mean, he could end up in San Diego, and then he's got a pretty good team.
Neither situation is bad.
No,
right.
no,
or he could end up in
great.
Miami, and that's not a bad situation. Or you
No.
could say he's going to end up in Jacksonville, and that would be, in my mind, the worst situation. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah,
he could end up there. So then I'm going to put Jalen Hurts as number 2.
Wow.
Right. So I'm going to put Tua
over Burrow
because of where Burrow's at.
Okay.
I think Burrow's I think
Burrow.
Flame. I think he's going to flame out.
Burrow starts the NFL at a
Poor
disadvantage.
bastard. Yeah.
If you're drafted by Cincinnati, it's just a disadvantage, and it's unfortunate. Now maybe this guy, this new coach, gets some offensive linemen. Let's start building the team. Maybe he can do it. I don't know. It's
it's potential. There's potential. It's hard to say.
Marvin Lewis ain't in charge anymore.
He ain't in charge anymore. There's a new offensive mind in town. So
right. I like that you guys say that, but you can't forget that Cincinnati really had some decent years under Marvin Lewis and some of those players. They were
how many playoff games did they win?
They didn't win enough. They didn't even make enough, but they
didn't win one.
They definitely did this, but
that's why I asked.
Right,
yeah,
but
0.
There were times that they were, in the playoffs and a contender
because of their defense. It wasn't because of their offense. Their defense took them.
You don't believe in Red Rocket, Andy Dalton?
I don't.
I disagree with. I think Carson Palmer did a fine job. I think he had good receivers. Who doesn't remember Ocho? I mean, come on, that guy was. Everybody knew his name because he actually was performing. Right.
Oh no, we remember Chad Johnson, but I refuse to call him Ocho.
And they had good running backs at times, But they had an offense. Yes. They could score points. They could win games.
Yes, but it was their defense that got them to the playoffs.
Right. But I hope they turn it around. I don't know why, because I don't even really give a shit about Cincinnati or any team in Ohio.
You want them to be competitive, I think.
Yes, that's why. But I just think they're in trouble.
I don't think the league is very fun when the Cincinnati Bengals are competitive. They're bottom dwellers.
Well, they have gotten used to the basement.
No, it's fun to watch Baltimore and Pittsburgh and Cincinnati beat each other
shit out of it. Yeah,
I love seeing that. They just keep fucking each other over in the playoffs. They're getting to the playoffs. It's great.
Yeah,
fair enough.
It's true.
Fair enough.
Otherwise, in the East, there's not enough good teams in the AFC. To be honest,
it's on AFC East is on the up.
It's coming along, but there's been
Buffalo and Miami are
one and a half dogs.
Yeah, they're on the rise right now. You bet your ass they are.
I agree, and thank God, New England's on the way down. So
right,
we don't know about that yet.
Oh, here we go.
We don't know, but we can hope.
Yeah, we can hope.
No.
That's right.
And I agree with something I heard today, which is they're going to suck this year. They're going to suck bad, and it's going to be really fun watching fucking.
You know,
I'll tell you why they're not.
Watching
Because
Belichick
last year their strength was
suffer.
their defense,
Yeah.
and their defense.
and it stayed together. So
Their strength was their defense and Tom Brady, because as much as I dislike the fact that he played in New England, and that I have to hear his fucking name, he was pretty good. He didn't cost you the game. He never cost you the game.
As long as Jarrett Stidham doesn't cost us the game, we'll be.
We don't know. Nobody knows what he's going to look like.
We'll see on that one.
Or
That's
Cam
not
Newton.
the topic for today. Or Cam Newton.
Or Jameis. You never know, Jameis.
Right. Or Jameis, yeah. He got LASIK.
You
You never know, they might trade for Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, that's right.
I'd love that.
Come on, Gardner. Come
Bring him
on
over to
down.
New England.
That's right. That's right.
All right, who we moving on to next? Anything exciting? I mean, I have something I'm going to ask, but I want it to be kind of not the closing, but I want it to be after we kind of hash out a number of guys.
Here's an interesting point that none of us have made. No running backs.
Oh, no. Right.
Is a running back even going in the first round?
I hope so.
I think is a question because listen, when you got Swift, right, and you've got who's the other guy? Fuck, I can't.
No, there's two guys. So I've seen one
Swift and
I've seen one mock that has two guys in the first round going.
Well, there's Swift.
I don't think either of them are first round.
So you're Swift. I actually hope Swift goes in the first round. To be quite honest,
do you?
I want the Chiefs to pick him
up. Jonathan Taylor out of Wisconsin. Jesus Christ, I can't believe I forgot that.
Out of Wisconsin.
Yes, out of Wisconsin. Yes. Listen.
Hey, there's another one. Sorry, J.K. Dobbins is another one.
But he's been in the second round. They never ever have had him in the first round.
I got one sitting right in front of me that has the Chiefs.
Then that's the Chiefs picking. Oh, okay. Well, with the last pick, maybe.
Right.
I did see one.
I'd love to see the Chiefs. I know they want a defensive player, but I'd love to see the Chiefs grab a solid, one of the best running backs they can get their hands on in the first round. I think they really need it.
I really would rather have Swift. That's exactly right. They could trade down and get.
They might not even have to. They might not even have to trade down at all to get him.
But to get more picks, John. I mean, that's what you want to do. Trade out of that position, get 2 second-rounders.
Yeah, but you might lose those running backs at that point.
Who to look out for?
Trade.
The team to look out for a running back is Miami, second round. Their first pick in the second round, they are taking a running back. They are revamping that offense.
Yes. Guys, listen, Miami, if they take Tua and they get an offensive lineman in the first round, and then they end up with Swift, are you shitting me? That's why I'm saying if this happens, they are automatically contending for that division. Immediately. With the defense they put together, I'm sorry, guys, that's just dangerous shit. And I looked at the Chiefs' schedule. We go to Miami. This is not a team that I want to face. I know these guys are young, and there's going to be a learning curve. But Jesus, I mean, that's
the team I'll be watching.
I mean, my God, that's just insane. And so I tell you what, you're right. Miami is one of those teams. And John, that we've talked a lot about the Chiefs. You're right. I hope we take a running back. Swift, I really like. He's speedy. And he could catch out of the backfield. That son of a bitch, he is as elusive. I watched him play a ton at Georgia. I watched Dobbins, though, play at Ohio State. He's a little more of a bruiser. Not as good catching out of the backfield. He can. He's not a Derrick Henry, as John says. This guy, tries to catch shit with his feet. But, I mean, I get it. But, I think Swift. I mean, shit, I would love to see him. Yeah. I mean, I would love to see him go there. But you know what? There's another running back that we haven't mentioned, and that's Perrine out of Florida. And that kid, I watched him play too, and that son of a bitch could run. He can catch out of the backfield. So he's a guy, they don't give a whole lot of credit. Like I think he's like the, 7th or 8th running back, just down the line. Like they don't, there's a couple before.
One of those late round steals.
Yeah.
That's the thing with running backs.
I think he's going to be a guy
off the radar.
Yes.
That you can pick up in the third round.
Yeah.
You can pick up in the fourth round and get value.
Right.
And really add dynamite pieces to your offense.
It's the position and what's changed with the NFL and running backs, right? The value of them, what they're willing to pay because of their durability has went down. They know they need multiples. Because you need multiples and you get those guys that just become prima donnas, It's hard to throw a lot of value into him, but damn it, the Chiefs could use a really good guy.
Yes.
Again, not that they couldn't use another defensive player because too many teams still can throw the ball on them, but they need another running back. They really do. And I think it'd be a great pickup, but you're right. It's probably not going to happen, but I'd love to see it happen. And
Andy Reid loves his offense.
Yes. He does. Absolutely. I mean, I don't think he's the guy that's masterminding the defense for the Chiefs at all. I think that's pretty apparent.
Yeah.
Not that he doesn't have some influence on what he expects and what he wants to see, but he's not the one coming up with the schemes. It's just not him.
Yeah.
Yeah, running backs are an interesting position. I didn't even care too much about it. All I focused on is, hey, are the Chiefs going to grab one? Because I'd sure love to see it happen.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's deep. I mean, Christ, anybody that needs a running back is going to get one that has, I think ability.
They say the same thing about wide receivers, right?
Wide receivers, yeah. I mean, it's deep.
If you want one, you're going to get one.
That's it.
I've heard it's kind of a weak tight end class, though.
I don't know a single one. That's the.
Let me tell you something.
There's no first-round talent.
It's funny you should mention that because there is a tight end that I want the Chiefs to grab in later rounds, and that is Thaddeus Moss out of LSU, and that's Randy Moss's son.
Yeah. Who doesn't
I would love for them to grab him. This kid, I watched him play, and this kid, he's got it. Man, he's got the skills. Now, he's not 6'4" like his dad. He's only 6'2", but this kid –
he's been very good.
He's got hands. He's coming out early. They don't give him enough credit. He's I don't know. He's probably the 190th player in the draft ranked or something. But somebody's going to steal this kid, and I sure as hell hope that it's
who will,
because I would love for him to sit behind Travis
Mr. Belichick.
Excuse me.
Mr. Belichick.
Oh yeah, God, Belichick.
Go away.
Belichick. He's a tight end guy. Of course.
We need multiple tight ends.
Multiples. Yeah, you got one who is in the grave, and then the other one.
R.I.P. Ben Watson. Come on. Yeah, Gronk's gone.
Gronk's gone. Yeah, he's gone. He's wrestling or doing some shit. I don't know. So, yeah. Man, it's a deep draft. It's going to be fun to watch. There's going to be a lot. I hope there's some crazy trades, in the first round. I think
there will be. I
hope there is.
I'm telling you, Jordan Love, top 15. Someone is trading up for him. There will be other trades, people moving up to get receivers. I think it'll be a fun draft.
It's going to be a fun draft. And, we going back to receivers real quick, it's not just CeeDee Lamb and Judy. You got Huggs and Higgins. You got Denzel Mims out of Baylor. You got Rieger out of TCU. I mean, it is so deep in the first round. I mean, every single one of these guys is first-round material. They won't all go in the first round because there's too many of them, and there's other positions that people need worse. But, my God, man. I mean, the Raiders, they could get a guy in the first round. They could actually go back into the second round and grab another guy.
Yeah.
If they wanted to. So, yeah, wide receiver, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun draft for sure.
Definitely. Any thoughts on defensive players? I know we haven't spent a ton of time on defense.
Oh, let's see. Chase Young's going number 2.
Chase Young.
Yeah, no doubt.
Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah, no doubt.
There's too many of them. There's too many of them in the first round. And it's awesome because they're important, but they're no fun to talk about. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
Does anybody think, though, that Simmons will have as big a career as Jesus Christ?
We need a name.
Baltimore Ravens. Help me out.
Ray Lewis?
Ray Lewis, thank you. Does anybody think he'll have a career like Ray Lewis?
I don't think Isaiah Simmons is going to kill anybody. First and foremost.
Oh, fair enough.
So
stay out of Atlanta, Ray.
we can scratch that one off the table.
Yeah.
That's a big ask.
Yeah.
You do realize how good Ray Lewis was.
Yes. I 100%.
It is hard to say anybody will have a career as good as Ray Lewis on the football field. I think he has the potential to. I think he's going to be a stud. Yeah. I think he's going to be the best defensive player from this draft. Personally.
Wow. Okay.
You think Simmons is going to be the best? Wow. Yeah.
I do. I think he'll be more successful than Chase Young because he'll end up in a better situation than Chase Young.
For sure. I agree with that 100%.
So that's why I think that.
Listen, Chase Young's going to the Redskins. Guys, the
Right.
Redskins, it's like, yeah, their defense will be good, but their offense sucks. And they really haven't done anything to fix it. Well, they did sign Kyle Allen. Is he under your desk, by the way?
Kyle Allen.
Listen, it's one of those deals.
I'm not wearing any pants.
I love it. See, this is where shit goes when we get towards the end of a podcast.
Working from home is great. You don't even the neck up is all people need to see.
I love it. Well, you never know where this podcast is going to go. Welcome, folks. Welcome.
Second, we mentioned Kyle Allen.
Yeah, well, we got to. Anytime we get to bang on Kyle Allen, we're going to do it.
I'm going to do it. Look,
he is under his desk. I knew it.
Hey, he's laid off right now. He's got no work. He's got to earn his paychecks.
He's not laid off. He works for the Washington Redskins.
Do you see those guys playing?
Yeah, full training camp.
They're not practicing. They're
not doing
they're voluntary even. He's not. He's needing some milk money. That's all I get to say.
He's needing some milk money. I love it. So there's that. Chase Young, he's great. The guy. I mean, he's a Nick Bosa. He's one of those guys, right? And so he's
it's a shame
TJ
where
Watt.
he's going.
You're right. And so he's going to that team, and he'll be great, but they aren't any good. And Dan Snyder, he doesn't know how to run a team. He's been trying for years now, and he just sucks at it, and he's not very good. Unfortunately, I wish he was better, but because I would really like to see more competition in the NFC East, but there just isn't any. I mean, they're really all pretty bad right now. So. As a matter of fact, they're all so bad, I don't know who's going to win the division next year. Jesus, Dallas and Philly and New York, and they're all horrible. So, I mean, who knows? But, yeah, there's some great – Jeff Okudah, the guy's outstanding. I mean, he is – this guy is just going to – if Detroit gets him, it's a huge boost. Huge boost. Yeah. But, again, I think Detroit's going to get him, but you're right. I think Detroit's going to move back a little bit. Let somebody trade up, have that spot at number 3. I don't know who it's going to be. Could be Jacksonville. Could be Miami.
I think it's Miami. I think they go back to
it's possible.
Only 2 spots.
It's possible.
Then they get Okudah.
John doesn't think so. John thinks they can stay right where they're at number 5 and grab Tua. And trust me, if they can, they will.
They're going to get one of the 2. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not saying that Detroit won't, drop. They might trade out of it, but everybody's saying they're getting Okudah, and are they going to get?
Well, I'll tell you what. If they could drop back and still get Okudah, they're going to do it because they want more picks.
Sure, and then
simple as that.
Miami's the guy, or you're saying Jacksonville, which I don't believe, are the ones trading up for it when they see that they're going to get Okudah. I don't see their value of trading. Somebody will probably do it, but I just don't see it. Like, why?
Depends on what they give for him.
Yeah,
I mean, who knows? But you're right.
Detroit says we're going to grab Tua or Herbert and freak somebody out, and then says you can trade us after. Good luck with that.
Yeah, that shit never works.
Right.
That never works.
Well, you could be Eli Manning and say, I'm not going to the Chargers. It's not going to happen.
That's absolutely true. That has happened. Yeah, and then they get stuck with Ryan Leaf. I mean, Jesus, what are the odds? That guy's horrible. Horrible. So, all right, so there's defense. Let's see, we hit quarterbacks, we hit running backs, receivers.
We forgot the kickers.
Damn it, I had a whole list of them, but we're running out of time.
You know who is actually a kicker of note?
Who's that?
I think it's Adam Vinatieri's nephew. I don't remember his name, but he's a Vinatieri.
Okay, well,
and he's coming.
He'll probably get drafted.
And you know who needs a kicker? You know who needs a kicker?
New England Patriots.
New England Patriots.
That's right.
Vinatieri returns.
Wouldn't that be fun?
If you were Vinatieri, would you let your son go play there?
Yeah, they have a good relationship.
Dude, do you find it weird that the Chiefs kicker's name is Harry Butt Kicker?
Yes.
I mean, it shocks me, but it is what it is. The guy can kick. I
don't know about the kicker part, but it's close.
Well, that's what Reed calls him.
Yeah,
he calls him Butt Kicker. So yeah. I always like that, but Harry, yeah. Anyway, crazy.
It's telling.
All right,
it's very telling. Yes.
So here, you guys ready for my part?
Yes.
I went totally different. So I decided I was going to look at fantasy football related reasons to talk about the draft.
Oh, fun.
And so I'm gonna give you some names. I'm gonna ask you who you think is gonna make the biggest fantasy football impact this
Impact?
year.
Okay. All
This
right.
year. So we got
Give it
This
to me.
year. Okay.
this year.
Give it to me. I'm ready.
Got it.
CeeDee Lamb.
Okay.
Don't tell me I'm going to give you the names first. Jerry
Okay.
Jeudy.
Okay.
I mean, these are all surprising picks so far. Henry Ruggs.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson.
Okay.
I don't even know this fucking guy's name.
Yeah.
I see it. Laviska Shenault Jr. Which mean, what does he do? What does this guy do?
I guess a receiver,
He's
is he not?
apparently, he's apparently a receiver.
Yeah.
Whoever ends up on the Raiders.
Okay, so
That's what I'm going to say.
let's say it's Jerry Jeudy. So you're thinking, because that's what everybody says it's going to be, is
Okay.
Jerry Jeudy. I mean, there's one other pick, but they were saying it's defense. Why? Why do you say that?
Why?
Especially since you're talking bad about their quarterback. Why do you say
Well, because the Raiders have absolutely no receivers whatsoever.
that? Okay.
They have Nelson Aguilar, who can't catch a ball.
They got some other guy. Who the hell did they have there?
Man, why do you got to attack my Nelson Aguilar?
They had
Come
one
on.
other dude. They had a receiver from last year. Come on, other than Antonio Brown.
Hunter Renfro.
Renfro.
There we go.
Hunter
Okay.
Renfro
He did
is
okay.
a slot guy.
He did okay.
He's a slot,
guy.
great slot guy.
He's
Yeah.
a great slot guy.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
throw in a Jerry
I like what you're
Jeudy
thinking. I like what you're thinking.
onto that team. There's a
Yeah.
weapon for Derek Carr. I don't think Derek Carr is that bad of a quarterback. I don't think he's
No.
going to ever win you a Super Bowl. But you throw in that number one guy, and we're talking rookie receivers. Rookie receivers don't usually go for 1,000 yards.
No, I know. That's why this is a fun little
I think
exercise, because there's only a couple rookie anybody's that show up
yeah.
and do anything for a fantasy football team.
that
It's either a running back,
situation-
sometimes a quarterback, but not too often.
The Raiders' situation for receivers feels like you could get 700-800 yards out of them with 6 to 7
Right.
touchdowns.
What if so to counter that, what if CD went to San Francisco?
See, that was
Ooh,
me.
that's good.
I was going to pick Ruggs going to San Francisco.
Or that, or even anybody
because
of these
right,
guys
I-
going to
San
San Francisco.
San Francisco was my
They got
pick
more
because
skill. They got more
you-
talent all
that's
around.
it. You got Debo
But they need a
Samuel,
guy. They need
but
a
you
guy.
don't. Emmanuel Sanders left, so whoever goes to
right.
San
And he was
Francisco,
very successful when he was there, right? Emmanuel
exactly
had a good
it.
year. We pointed
That's-
out, like in the
that's my
past.
pick. Is whoever goes to San Francisco, be it Ruggs, be it CeeDee Lamb. I don't think CeeDee Lamb's going there. I think Ruggs is, but it depends. If CeeDee Lamb is there, I just think he'll be picked by them. But whoever goes to San Francisco, that's my pick. That's
Fair
what I
enough.
was going to say.
I like that.
Just because I think he's with Garoppolo, and I think he's got the ability, and he's on a really good team. So
What about now I didn't name him, but just because you kind of nailed it. So let me throw up mine. I really like whoever plays for San Francisco. So that was one of my thoughts on not that particular subject, but my other thought about talking about this draft show was picking one of the teams that made the playoffs and going, who do they pick up, and what does that do to their playoff chances this year? But
Okay.
maybe
yeah.
for another time we should talk about that, because I think that'll be fun. Maybe after the draft we can go
Right.
back and look and say, what do we think now?
right? They've
Well,
Out of all the
clear
playoff
picks,
teams,
yeah.
where we at? Because I think that'd be a fun exercise. I just decided
For
I
sure.
didn't want to do that much studying on this one. I wanted to just
Yeah.
kind of play loose this time
It's
around.
good.
But
Yeah.
what about the running backs we talked about? So Swift or who's the guy
I
guy
think-
from Wisconsin, or Dobbins?
I
Jonathan
still gotta
Taylor
say,
or
yeah.
Dobbins.
I gotta say Swift to Miami. If Swift goes to Miami, he's your number one option out of the backfield. Like you're
That's
saying,
right.
he can catch the ball too.
So do you think
That feels like the fit. Then he's going to he could have 1,000-yard season.
you think a running back, since I didn't name any, but now we're talking about a running back or a wide receiver, do you think is going to make a bigger impact at fantasy?
Running back.
Okay. A lot of times it's easier. They get more touches if they end up being a guy that starts. Or
And it could be someone who's
There's a
surprising
fair
who
amount
we're
of
not
time,
even
yeah.
talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
There's always those guys who show up. So
So Joe, you
Well-
like San Francisco. Whoever goes to San Francisco is your guy, or are you going to
As far as wide receiver,
Yeah, okay,
now,
that's fair. Yep.
if we're talking running back, I like Dobbins to Kansas City, because I like Swift to Kansas City too, but that's more of a receiver role. And so I don't really want to say that. If we're talking about running backs, I want to talk about a running back. I like Dobbins to Kansas City because I think it gives them that run option, right? And then that really makes the Chiefs dangerous, because what the hell do you do? If Dobbins goes up and he's able to run the ball like Kareem Hunt, guys, I'm sorry. What do you got to bring guys up to stop this guy. If Dobbins could come in and do that, and you have to remember, we took Kareem Hunt in the 3rd round out of Toledo. Nobody had even heard of this guy. This guy comes in.
Somebody did, but yeah.
Somebody did. This guy comes in and wins the rushing award that year, his rookie year. So I like Dobbins to the Chiefs. I think if that happens, I think he's going to have the most success because he's on a team that is successful. I mean, it's as simple as that. I think they're going to give him the ball. Now, it's a little dicey, though, because you've got Damian Williams. And Damian Williams has earned the right to get the ball. And unless Dobbins, but, Dobbins is that guy that could come into training camp, and he's so freaking dynamic that they're like, well, I'm sorry, Damian, but
you go with the best player.
You're on the bench, right? So
here's a thought, too. I know it doesn't pertain to the rookie running backs, but Leonard Fournette is on the trade block.
I saw that.
So a team like, I don't know if Kansas City would pick him up, but a team.
Well, there was talk.
You could.
A contender like Kansas City picking him up, that could be a move to look out for too.
So that
could be the biggest move.
I don't know that he fits in their offense necessarily. I mean, he's more of the bruising
could make
back.
it work.
Well, sure. I mean, listen, we could get him in there and hand the ball off to him. It's not really the offense that they run. They want to leave the ball in Patrick Mahomes' hands. Do they want to be able to have a running back that they can hand the ball off to and he's going to run a little bit? Yes, Fournette is that bruiser. He's that guy that first and second down, that son of a bitch is getting the ball, and then we'll throw it on third down. I just don't know he's a great fit in Kansas City. He's a great running back. He had 1,100 yards last year. I think, didn't he, John?
Yeah.
I had him the year before he was hurt.
Right. And he's a great – I will go – he's a great running back. I don't know how many years he had. You heard last year because I think you picked him up again in fantasy league. So
right.
I ignored him. And I stayed away only because he got hurt the year before when I was going to grab him, but you grabbed him before me.
I had him, right? And then the son of a bitch
and then I laughed.
Shit for me.
I laughed. And then I gave you fucking Melvin Gordon last year, so kiss my
ass. And he didn't score shit either, so fuck you.
I'm going to go back to Kansas City just for a second as you talked about a running back. Well, sure. I think I would love to see him get one. You think that if a running back ends up in Kansas City, that guy is going to be the one with the most fantasy impact? Because I think, unlike most teams where you need a running back to open up your passing game, it's actually the reverse for Kansas City. Your running back is good because your passing game is so fucking dangerous.
Yes.
Right? So I think their passing game takes away from the running back in Kansas City. Well, I think we need one or, another one, and I think would be great because, with Damian Williams, I think he did a good enough job that we are okay with him, but what if he goes down? Right? What else do we got?
Yeah. Well, he's
coming back, is he? Even though
no, they've already released him.
Right? They didn't even suit him up for the Super Bowl, man.
We didn't need him. But here's my thing. But Damian Williams he's a pass catcher.
He ran okay too, but yes, he
definitely did. But the majority of what he did was
catch it. Kept him open. I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, and so Dobbins would be a different kind of back. He's that guy that you want to put in there, first down, you're going to hand off the ball or whatever. But you're right, it is the reverse. The guy, it's almost impossible to stuff the box when you're playing Kansas City because with Kelsey and, you fine, bring your safeties up and see what happens.
Right. Oh, yeah. Good luck with that.
You just can't, right? Because now it's one-on-one outside with Hardman and Hill, two of the fastest guys in the NFL. Well, yeah. It's just you're right. It is almost the reverse. It still would be nice to have that guy.
Oh, no, I agree. I just was saying I don't think the fantasy impact will be the same. The other guys will probably have a bigger impact because of that. So here's an interesting one. What about Tampa Bay if they get a stud running back?
Well, yeah, right. What if Fournette went to Tampa Bay?
Or one of these guys. What if Swift went there? Right? Somebody – I mean, Brady doesn't have the same arm. He's smart. He uses those guys.
Yeah.
But they probably could use a running game a little bit more than Kansas City.
Guys, let me tell you something. I am so impressed. Well, okay, so you guys know how I said in earlier episodes, I said Tampa Bay, I think they're a lock for the division.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm going to stick with that because I said it, but that was before New Orleans traded for Emmanuel Sanders.
Right. Yeah.
That changes things because that is a total game changer. Now, they still have Godwin and they still have Evans and they have two great tight ends.
Oh, right. They're going to
so they have what it takes, but wow. I'll tell you what, New Orleans, they did the right thing. And now they've got these guys. Emmanuel Sanders, I don't care if he's 33 years old, that son of a bitch can still play ball.
Yeah, look what they did with
And so But you want to talk about exciting games to watch this year? Tampa Bay, New Orleans.
Oh yeah,
that's some fun football right there, fellas. But you're right, John. You put a Swift in the backfield with Brady. Jesus. Now New Orleans doesn't need him; they have Kamara.
Right?
You
No, they already have the running back.
You're right.
That's exactly.
But you put a guy in the backfield in Tampa Bay.
They love
They need a Kamara, right? If Tampa had a Kamara, they'd be in really good shape.
Oh boy.
Well, even New Orleans though loves having two formidable running backs.
Oh yeah, and then
Kamara and Ingram.
Yeah,
Kamara
right.
and Ingram. So
a catcher with decent, more shifty running back, and then Ingram just to pound the ball in.
Now,
and there's nothing wrong with that, having one of each, because there's times you got third and short, or you go for it on fourth, and you need a guy that can square his shoulders up and just run guys to the yard.
You guys did hear there was a trade rumor, Kamara to the Chiefs?
Not gonna happen.
No. What's that?
Not gonna happen.
No,
I'm just saying it was thrown out there.
Right, I'd love it.
Not gonna happen.
So, matter of fact, the headline said, "You think the Chiefs are unstoppable now? They would be if this happened."
Yeah.
And then it was Kamara
yes,
too.
They would.
And it's like,
I'm not even gonna entertain the idea because it is so unrealistic.
But we're Chiefs fans. We're gonna entertain it. We're gonna have wet dreams tonight about it.
Yeah,
you are.
Absolutely.
You are.
Absolutely.
You are.
Okay, now whoa.
I'm going to start signing a petition and passing around on Facebook for all you guys to sign.
John, you'll love this one. So, Odell Beckham, Patrick Peterson going to the Vikes. The Vikes giving up both of their first-round picks. You see that?
I keep seeing that that they say Odell is not going anywhere. I'd love to see that. And to me, it made sense, to be quite honest. They said, yeah, that's bullshit. I mean, Cleveland basically said,
Patrick
we're not
Peterson's
trading
not going anywhere either.
Yeah.
Well, they haven't. The Chiefs were interested in.
Yeah, I don't get to talk about my Vikes enough because I hate their quarterback, even though people like him and they think
Come on. You don't like Kirk Cousins?
No, Kirk Cousins could play, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Kirk. He's a good quarterback.
I mean,
he's a good quarterback. Yeah. He's not a great quarterback.
Oh, well. He won him a playoff game.
Woohoo!
So did Case Keenum.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually personally liked Case better then, but I'm probably wrong because now he's
Wow! That's a kick in the shorts.
No, I did. I liked him, and I was really disappointed when they traded him to the fucking Dolphins and picked up Kirk Cousins. Personally, I was like, what?
I don't think he went to the Dolphins.
I said Broncos. Sorry. Broncos.
Like,
I don't even know where the DQ. I was thinking Donkos because that's what I call them, the Denver Broncos, the Donkos. But the Dolphins came out and said, "I apologize."
Yeah.
Right, correct.
Okay.
And then he just got passed around like a little bitch. I mean, he's
I
think he's under your desk. I think he's under your guys' desk, definitely earning his milk money because
his milk money. He's got to get something. I'll tell you what. That's crazy. All right, what else do we got, fellas?
I'm out. That's it. This is good stuff.
Everybody got it? Yeah. Man,
I think we need a couple sleeper picks because
that's great.
You've made one. Evan,
I did.
I'm gonna have to
I did.
Pull some shit. Oh, I already know who my sleeper pick is. I said it, Jalen Hurts. He's my sleeper.
I would have said Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, but I already said he's going to be better than one of the first round. I have to take him. He's the only guy I can think of that really I got it. Is he making an impact this year? No, but he's going to be the guy that is going to have more impact sooner than whoever Joe mentioned, which is a great guy from Hawaii, but I don't know his name at all.
Cole McDonald.
Old McDonald
from Hawaii.
I Hawaii.
I can't remember this guy's
name.
But you can look him up real quick if you
time. Hold on. There's this safety who's projected to be 6th, 7th round coming out of the XFL. Actually,
we didn't. Yeah, okay, nice.
And he's going to be the only player to go for. He skipped his last year of college because he was academically ineligible or something, and so he went to the XFL. And now he's entering the draft, and people are not even talking about him. But this guy was a stud in the XFL. I need to find his name. I don't remember.
Take your time. So we know it's a safety or cornerback or whatever you just said from the XFL.
Yes.
And so I'm wondering, I guess because he never played in the NFL and nobody picked him up as a free agent from the XFL like other guys, he could enter the draft, right?
Well,
was he eligible, draft eligible?
He was never draft eligible before this year, so he has to enter the draft.
Gotcha. Okay.
So he can't be picked up as a free agent.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's Kenny Robinson. So keep
Okay.
that name in mind.
Kenny Robinson.
Okay.
He
Who
had
did they play for in the XFL?
the XFL's Battlehawks, and they were the best team.
And what city were they out of?
I want to say Houston.
Okay.
So, but look out for he's a day 3 pick, and
Yeah,
this guy was
right.
a stud in college, academically ineligible. He got something like 7 or 8 interceptions in like 20 games in college.
Nice.
And then they only played 4 games in the XFL, but he was leading the league in interceptions.
It sounds like another Houston player to me.
The guy's a beast.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say
Cool.
somebody's gonna pick him up on day 3 and be very happy.
Sure. And just see what happens. I like it.
So
Okay.
I remember reading about him. I was impressed.
Nice.
So
I think that's super sleeper.
So you're Jalen Hurts.
Right.
Wow. Don't stretch yourself at all.
Dude, nobody's talking about him. I know it's not much of a sleeper, but I feel like if I'm saying he's going to be better than one of the first round picks, I got to kind of stay with the guy. And it sucks that I don't get to be more creative, but it's.
Can I throw out
and
another
I'm saying
sleeper
that
pick?
at a quarterback because you're saying he's going to play some other position. I'm going to say he's a sleeper because he can come out and be a stud
Fair
as
enough.
a quarterback.
I mean, I picked Cole McDonald just because I
Right.
watched this kid.
No, that's good. I like it.
But if I had to pick a sleeper, just a later round pick guy that I think is going to open some fucking eyes, John, you'll get a kick out of this. It's Antoine Winfield Jr. out of Minnesota.
Okay, nice.
I think this kid
I've actually heard this name. Yep.
Yeah, I think this kid is going to turn some freaking heads in this league. And I just, he helped them with their record last year. They were a stellar team. But it's a guy that I think is being overlooked to a degree. I mean, obviously, he'll be taken. He's probably third round, probably. He might be late second, maybe. And another guy to watch out for is AJ Espinoza.
Jesus, how many you got?
Well, I got
hard
a bunch,
to pick a
man.
sleeper when you name the entire draft
Yeah.
class.
No, I'll stick with Antoine. It's a guy. I just watch out for him.
All right.
And
Fair
so
enough.
depending on obviously where he goes, but I think he'll open some eyes.
I like
So yeah, me too. It's my pick.
it.
Matter of fact, I like it a lot. So yeah, so those are our sleepers. Jalen Hurts, he went out on the line. Who was yours?
Kenny Robinson.
Yeah,
Safety.
I really like that. Now that's a ballsy sleeper right there. That's one of those where, the chances of him making a team are probably slim to none, but man, that's got some nuts right there. Cole McDonald, he may not make a team either, man. But you know what? I'll throw him out there. I mean, I
like it. I like it. It was
Well,
good ballsy move.
We'll see. I think he's like the 12th or 13th quarterback coming out the draft. I mean, when you're that far down, your chances are slim. But he's fun to
never
watch
know.
anyway. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So, is that it, boys?
I think it's it.
Is that all we got?
I think that's all.
Oh,
we
look
got.
at he's already dancing it out.
Dude, he's so excited to get to his baked potato.
I was just thinking that too.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
like, he didn't even
It's
touch that
cold by
potato.
now.
You're gonna have to bake that potato again.
No shit, man. Give it another 60 minutes because that shit
It's
ain't
gonna be
good.
really good twice baked potato.
Ooh.
That's right.
Pour a little tea on it. It'll be fucking golden.
I brew up another cup.
What is wrong with this guy? Hey, well, you know what? We gave it 10 for hydration.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you
no,
go.
for hydration. There we go.
Always a 10 for hydration. You got to love it. Hey, I do have to ask. You're no longer in the kitchen.
Actually,
where are you?
you want to know something?
Yes.
He's still in the kitchen.
I'm still in the kitchen.
He turned around.
I turned the desk around to face the other
Woo!
way.
What a trick.
Now I'm devastated because I don't get to see Dilly come and get a ice cream sandwich out of the freezer, Ah, wow. Okay. All right.
Wow, look at
Still
that.
here.
He's in a corner,
He was sick of people sneaking up behind him. He wanted to see him coming.
That's
yeah,
right.
exactly.
That's right. I love it. No, that's
Creates
a good
little
job, man.
corner office space over here.
Yeah, that's cool.
Always innovative.
Yeah, it did look more like a basement or a closet or
Right.
I don't.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it is what it is. It looks good though. Looks good.
Yeah.
Very professional.
Oh, thank you. I
Very
do my
professional.
best.
I know, right? I know. All right, boys. Well, listen, until next time, do we want to give anybody a sneak at what we're going to be talking about on our
Have we figured it out yet? I don't know.
next
Post-draft.
Post-draft.
Yeah.
I like that.
You know what I'd really love to do? I don't think we've decided for sure.
Yeah.
Joe and I were talking about this. I think this would be fun, would be to recap the draft. Maybe talk about what we think would be those other teams, and or not only recap the draft, but recap our other episodes. It'd be kind of fun. Like things we've said, things we've thrown out there that have either changed or not,
Right.
If we don't have enough change, maybe we can't do that yet. We'll find out. We still don't know where Jameis and Cam are going, which is shocking. It's shocking it's taking us. I do too. After the draft, I think we'll find out where they're going.
Yeah.
They can't take physicals right now. So
I know, but other people have been signed pending their physical, so somebody could have just signed them, but they're like, okay, we're going to see what happens in the draft.
Well,
I'm shocked, to be honest, that they've lasted this long.
And Patrick Mahomes is supposed to get his contract after the draft. So, I mean, that all that stuff is supposed to come through. And so, there'll be a lot to talk about.
Yes, there will. So we'll figure it out. We'll knock it out before we get to that point. But anyway, we'll all be enjoying the draft and poking each other in the fucking ribs when the picks come out and you guys are all wrong and I'm right. Remember that. 3 quarterbacks, guys. 3.
Yeah.
4.
You heard it here first.
4.
Okay.
Definitely 4.
He's all on it, man. He's like, no, it's 4.
All right.
I believe it's going to be 4, but I think one of them goes later in the first round.
Well, everybody says that. That's why I'm
not everybody. He's in the top 15. I don't believe that fourth quarterback's going to be in the top 15.
So, Mr. Ballsy 4, are you going to also stand by top 15 for, or are you just going to back up?
Top 15.
Okay.
All 4 of them are in the top. That's what he's saying.
Yep, 100%.
Now, I think the first 3 that I said are in the top 15. But I mean, we all think that. But I think the fourth one drops out of the
Someone
top.
trades up to get Jordan Love in the top 15.
It's possible.
I don't need to. Okay.
I'm not saying it's not possible, but I just think he'll fall a little bit.
All right. I'll let you think that.
Watch Tua fall into the second round, and we're all sitting here with our chins on the floor. Be like, shit. Yeah. Apparently that Wonderlic test is a big deal.
Right. It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
That and the busted hit.
Yeah. Well, that tends to hinder your playing ability. Yeah.